So I think this is going to be our crew. This will be our fleet. And this all hinges on whether or not CG is just abandoning fleets or going to do something with it. Hey, what's up everybody? I'm the Gerbil. Sorry about my long hiatus. I've been extraordinarily busy, but something drew me out of temporary retirement here as I really want to talk about something that I just don't hear people talking about, and I sincerely believe this is indeed the next era and the next capital ship in the game. I know I've done videos in the past where I've said that the next fleet was going to be either the Resolute or it was going to be an updated Home 1 with a bunch of rebels like Luthen Rail ship and a bunch of other stuff. And you know, I still fundamentally believe that those are possible, but the recent introduction of the new pirate tag, the absolutely blindsided edition of SM33, tells me without a doubt, unequivocally, I would bet my computer right now that the next fleet is going to be pirates. And I'm gonna kind of walk you through what I think is coming and some expectations and how to prepare for it. So like, without getting into clues, let's back up and let's think about this. The last fleet that was brought to us was the Leviathan. And in case you have missed it, so the Leviathan came to us in 2023. It is a full 2 years old as of, what is that going to be? July 28th. So in barely a month, 2 months time, this fleet is 2 years old and it has not been replaced, which means unless Capital Games is absolutely giving up on fleets, which is a very bad indicator for the game's longevity, then we are due a new fleet. Okay, so why am I certain it's pirates? Well, remember the era thing? Everyone loves this era. Okay, let's look at this era. Okay, so right now we're in the era of the episode 3, right? Revenge of the Sith. We've got our marquees. We had Dark Side Clone Trooper, Dark Side Clone Trooper, Dark Side Clone Trooper, Dark Side Clone Trooper. We just got Temple Guardian, and next week we're going to get another Jedi. Well, in 2 weeks, and then we start a whole new era. That hasn't been announced yet what that is, but that new era, actually it kind of has. That new era has to be pirates. There is no way around that. Why? Because Capital Games has said that the next raid coming to us very soon, this summer, in fact, they said June at the latest in their last address of it. I'm trying to load the game. Looks like I'm not going to be able to get into the game right now. What we know is that the next raid in the game is playable by Jedi Vanguard, clones, Dark Side clones under Tarkin lead, etc. But they also said out of nowhere that pirates would be included, and they specifically said that the pirate faction will not be ready in its entirety. They will be late to the party. Well, so we have 4 pirates that seemingly have no relation, and we know for a fact the raid is coming this summer and new pirates are coming along with it. Since they are introducing characters as marquees in eras, then it is reasonable to assume, almost guaranteed to assume, that the next era is going to include pirates. Now, if we have 6 marquees plus another legendary character, which I think will be the capital pilot, then we can assume we will get 7 new characters and/or ships in that era. Now, we have again 4 in the game. We just got SM33. Now, if we look at his kit, there's some interesting stuff in here. There is quite literally an ability called First Mate to the Onyx Cinder. Okay, you tell me one successful pirate that doesn't have a ship. Obviously, I mean, yeah, I think Jack Sparrow, but no, come on, he had a ship off and on a lot. He lost it, he got it back, he lost it, he got it back, blah, blah, blah. But this is in Pirates of the Caribbean, this is Star Wars. So he's gonna get a ship. And no joke, it is one of the coolest ships in Star Wars, I think, the Onyx Cinder. If you did not watch Skeleton Crew, where SM33 comes from, you really need to watch the show. It's actually really good. Turns out it was the most watched Star Wars on Disney last year. That is excluding the movies. Of all the TV shows, it was the most watched show. So it actually did way better than its reputation. All right, now of these other 4 characters, it's worth noting Sana had her own ship. Hondo commanded a fleet of ships, so he certainly could be the fleet leader, but I don't think so, because he comes and goes in terms similar like how Jack Sparrow commanded a fleet on and off. It was not very consistent. Again, if we go back to Skeleton Crew, what we know is that the lead character was Jod, aka Captain Silvo, aka the Crimson Jack, and he was in command of a large frigate that I don't think was ever named. And spoiler alert, he was overthrown by Brutus, and there was this other really cool dude here named Gunter. Now, there were other named characters, but I think it is very possible that this represents legendary character Marquis. Now, there are a lot of other notable pirates in The Mandalorian. This dude, Vane, had a little like siege over Navarro with Grief Kargan there, and there was some snub fighter action. Woo! Pew, 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 pew. I'm getting ahead of myself. And in the sequel era was this dude named, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm just going to call him AKA Crimson Corsair, Crimson Jack. Seeing a theme? I am. And then, of course, in the sequels, we saw the pirate queen herself, Kanata. Captain Maz, who could also be a fleet commander. So we actually have 3 potential fleet commanders here. We got Hondo, we got Jod, we got Maz. I'm going to put my money on Jod. Why? Because Jod is the most recent. Jod, everybody knows Jude Law, and this show was just really good, and they're going to want to drive interest into Skeleton Crew and Disney TV and Disney Plus subscriptions. That's just a fact. Money drives stuff. So again, you're saying, but we only have 4 characters and no ships in game. Well, that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Because if we look at the current state of fleets, okay, we've got 2 Rebels, 3 Empire, we've got First Order, Resistance, 2 Galactic Republic, Separatists, and then Sith. Now, the Leviathan is that most recent one. In order to get the Leviathan, you needed a lot. Like, you needed Relic 9 Darth Revan, Relic 9 Malgus, Relic 9 Malak, I think. There's some stupid stuff that you needed in there. Hey, go away, close that ad. Among the requirements, you needed the Fury, which was a conquest character. You needed Malgus. I guess Malgus wasn't needed. It was Malak. Whatever, I don't remember exactly the full list of them, but you obviously, in order to have the Fury, you needed Malgus right here, who was also a conquest character. These are the conquest characters. So with SM-33 being in the next conquest, there's our gate number 1 to the next fleet, similar as Malgus and the Fury were gating Leviathan. So there's gate number 1. Second gate very likely would be the legendary character at the end of the era. So if this is going to be July, August, September, yuck, here's the next 3 months, then we know that the next capital ship is probably going to come out towards the end of the year, September to October, which, you know, it's a good time to announce it. 2 years anniversary of Leviathan, by the conclusion of the current era when we get the Jedi Vanguard, and then July, here we go, starting chasing the pirates who are coming late to the raid, and capital ship by the end of the year. Now, this is going to be expensive. Obviously, if you don't unlock SM-33, and if this really comes to bear, as I'm certain it will, then you're going to need all the marquee characters, and then you're going to need that for the raid, you're going to need that for the fleet, and then the legendary character who's likely to be the capital ship commander. So here's what I kind of expect it could look like. As I pointed out a few years ago, the 5 was the new 7. For the longest time, we thought you needed 7 ships to round out a fleet. Like, everybody maxed out their fleets. And now we know pretty authentically it's 5. It's 5. It's 5. 5 is all you need. So what we need is 4 ships. Oh my goodness, I wish it would stop doing that. What we know is we need 4 ships to come to the game, and we need just a couple of characters. So again, let's step back and let's think about that. We've got 6 marquees, plus a legendary is 7. So that means 5 ships. Later we get the capital ship, and then we only need two more pilots. Well, we've already got 4. We've already got SM-33, Sana, and we've got Hondo, and we've got Infus, who was a pilot. So really, they could give us 2 people, 5 ships, and boom-a-da-boom, there's our whole fleet. Like, it actually fits really, really well. Now, I don't think that they would do all the ships as marquees in the era structure. I think that that would just be, like, annoying. So I very much could see this being 2 ships, 2 characters, a ship and a character, legendary character Jod, and then we've got the Conquest character here, SM-33, which will be July. No, he's already started, right? June, July, August, just in time to wrap out that next era. So anyway, folks, this was a bit unscripted, unrehearsed, but I think it makes absolute perfect sense. And I think that this is very much where we're going. And if it's not that crew, I mean, it could be any of this. We got 4 pirates in the game. We're going to get 2 or 3 more to round out a squad. It makes a lot of sense that we'd get Jod, Brutus, Gunter, SM-33, and then maybe put in Infus, Hondo, or one of these other folks. But what I don't really see is Hondo being the admiral. I think that Hondo was a bit too much, like I said, like kind of modeled after Jack Sparrow or vice versa. I don't know which came first. And he's too much of a rogue character that just comes and goes on his own. Whereas Jod and Brutus both very definitively maintained and tried to maintain command of their respective pirate gangs and fleets. SM-33 is a dedicated first order or first officer. Doesn't matter who's in command. And again, if I hearken this back to the Skeleton Crew TV show, what we're not going to get are the 4 kids. As much as I really, really loved that show and the kids, they're not coming to the game, I don't think. CG does still kind of not want to have kids dying in this game. Yeah, I mean, we got Omega, but she was a genetically engineered clone trooper. So yeah, that's about all I'm going to say about that. And notice Grogu is not really a playable character. Grogu in IG is, where he's wearing a mech. But those 4 kids, they're not going to be combat, and they were not combat effective in the show to begin with. So I think this is going to be our crew. This will be our fleet, and this all hinges on whether or not CG is just abandoning fleets or going to do something with it. So take it as it is. Take it with a grain of salt. I think this is the future. I think it's going to be very, very expensive. So if you are chasing Mace right now and you are like contemplating, do I invest a whole lot of money and everything into it? I kind of think I would wait a little bit before you dump all your resources into Temple and Vanguard. The other one that's coming in 2 weeks, it starts with a D. I can't remember who that's going to be. DARPA. I just can't remember. Who is that? Oh, wow. Era of Apprentices. Have they already announced what it's going to be? Oh no, that was last year. Era of Cavalry, Revenge of the Sith. Right. Oh yeah, DEPA. Nope, there it is. I was like, oh man, this whole video just got crushed. No, they haven't announced the next one. Yeah, so the next one's coming any day now. In the next 2 weeks, it will happen. So yeah, I think when DEPA comes out, that's when we're gonna get Mace. And I think before you just dive blindly into that, you might hold off to see what the next era is, because if the next era is tied to the fleet meta, and if you're like me and you are sick, just sick of Leviathan mirrors and whatnot, then yeah, you probably want to maybe consider where to put those credits. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. I'm sorry if this just kind of rambled. I'm out of practice. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the subscribe. Yes, please scrub me. I do need to wash my hair, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.